Mr. Stripey, the tomato that's taking over urban gardens. Move over, boring red tomatoes. There's a new star in town, and it's wearing stripes. Mr. Stripey tomatoes are the talk of the town. These funky striped fruits are popping up in gardens faster than you can say salsa. They're not just pretty faces, though. These tomatoes pack a flavor punch that'll make your taste buds do a happy dance. Imagine biting into a tomato that's both sweet and tangy. It's like a party in your mouth. So, are you ready to join the Mr. Stripey fan club? Let's dig in and learn how to grow these striped sensations like a pro. By the end of this guide, you'll be growing Mr. Stripey tomatoes like you were born with a green thumb.
Section 5, staking claims supporting your towering tomato plants. As your Mr. Stripey tomatoes grow, they're going to need some support. These plants can get pretty tall. We're talking basketball player heights here. Without support, they'll flop over like a tired toddler. So let's talk about staking. Think of it as giving your tomatoes their own personal jungle gym. There are a few different methods you can use, but let's focus on two popular ones: stakes and cages. First up, stakes. You'll need sturdy stakes about 6 to 8 feet tall. Bamboo or wooden stakes work well. Plant the stake about 4 inches from the main stem when you first plant your tomatoes. As the plant grows, gently tie it to the stake with soft twine or tomato clips. Don't tie it too tightly. You don't want to strangle your poor plant. Next, we have cages. These are like little apartments for your tomatoes. You can buy ready-made cages or make your own from wire fencing. Place the cage over your plant when it's still small. As the plant grows, it'll fill out the cage. The great thing about cages is that they provide support on all sides. Whichever method you choose, the important thing is to provide support early. Keeping your plants upright helps prevent disease and makes harvesting easier.
Section 6, pest control, keeping unwanted guests out of your tomato party. All right, garden warriors, it's time to talk about the less glamorous side of tomato growing pest control. Your Mr. Stripey tomatoes are like an all-you-can-eat buffet for certain critters. But don't worry, we're not going to let these party crashers ruin your tomato fiesta. Let's start with the most common pests, aphids. These tiny green bugs suck the sap from your plants, leaving them weak and sad. To combat aphids, try spraying your plants with a strong stream of water to knock them off. For a more natural approach, introduce ladybugs to your garden. They're like the bouncers of the insect world, happily munching on aphids all day long. Next up, we have tomato hornworms. These big green caterpillars can strip a tomato plant bare faster than you can say salsa. Your best defense is to check your plants regularly and pick off any hornworms you find. Last but not least, let's talk about furry pests. Rabbits and deer love tomato plants almost as much as we do. If these four-legged freeloaders are a problem in your area, consider fencing in your garden. You can also try planting strong-smelling herbs like lavender or marigolds around your tomatoes. It's like creating a stinky force field that animals don't want to cross. Remember, protecting your tomatoes doesn't have to mean declaring war on nature. It's all about finding a balance. If you're squeamish, wear gloves. Or better yet, make it a game. Whoever finds the most hornworms wins.
Section 7, troubleshooting when your Mr. Stripey throws a tantrum. Even with the best care, sometimes your Mr. Stripey tomatoes might throw a little fit. Don't worry, it's not personal. Let's go through some common issues and how to solve them. First, up blossom end rot. This is when the bottom of your tomatoes turns black and mushy. It's usually caused by a calcium deficiency or inconsistent watering. The solution? Make sure you're watering regularly and deeply. Next, let's talk about cracking. Sometimes your tomatoes might develop cracks on top. This usually happens when there's a sudden increase in water after a dry spell. To prevent this, try to keep your watering consistent. Yellowing leaves are another common issue. If the bottom leaves of your plant are turning yellow, it might be a sign of nitrogen deficiency. Time for a nitrogen-rich fertilizer. But if the yellowing is accompanied by brown spots, you might be dealing with early blight. This fungal disease can spread quickly, so remove affected leaves immediately and spray with a fungicide if necessary. Lastly, what if your plants are growing great but not producing fruit? This could be due to extreme temperatures or lack of pollination. Tomatoes like it warm but not too hot. If temperatures soar above 90 degrees Fahrenheit, fruit set can be affected. You can't control the weather, but you can provide some shade during the hottest part of the day. As for pollination, if you're not seeing many bees, try gently shaking your plants to help spread pollen. It's like playing matchmaker for your tomatoes. It's like giving your plants a quick health checkup.
Section 8. Harvest time, enjoying the fruits of your labor. The moment you've been waiting for has finally arrived. Harvest time. Your Mr. Stripey tomatoes should be ready to pick about 80 days after planting. But how do you know when they're ripe? Look for fruits that are mostly yellow with red stripes. They should feel firm but have a slight give when gently squeezed. When picking your tomatoes, don't just yank them off the vine. Instead, gently twist the fruit while supporting the vine with your other hand. Or use pruning shears for a clean cut. Remember to harvest regularly. This encourages the plant to keep producing. It's the circle of tomato life. Now, what to do with all these beautiful striped tomatoes? The possibilities are endless. Slice them up for the prettiest caprese salad you've ever seen. Chop them into a colorful salsa, or just bite into one like an apple. We won't judge. Mr. Stripey tomatoes have a sweet, low-acid flavor that's perfect for eating fresh. Congratulations, Tomato Champion! You've successfully grown your own Mr. Stripey tomatoes. Take a moment to bask in the glory of your accomplishment. You've nurtured these plants from tiny seeds or seedlings to full-grown, fruit-bearing beauties. You've battled pests, weathered storms, and come out victorious. So go ahead, take a big juicy bite of your homegrown tomato. You've earned it. And remember, in the world of gardening, there's always next season to try new things and grow even better tomatoes. Happy growing!